The third part of it is it lights you up, you're good at it. Does it move me closer to what I think my extraordinary life is? Because that's where you really want to spend most of your time. If I'm good and it lights me up, like the grocery shopping with my kids, or your kids, for example, you can do it. It's fine. It lights you up. Is that a thing you're going to spend most of your time?
Hey there, I am Dr. Jason Balara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast, where we explore the why behind success. Every week, I meet with real estate investors, veterinary entrepreneurs, mindset coaches, authors, and fitness professionals to uncover their why and how it drives them on the winding road to success. What is your why? Hi everyone, I'm Jason Balara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast. Today I'm here with Bethany LaFlam, a securities attorney, syndication expert, and author of The Power of OPE, which I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about. Bethany has been on the show before. We were just talking, it's been a couple years. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, but it's been a couple years, so it's great to catch up and have you back on the show. So first, I'll say thank you. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for taking the time out. I know you're very busy, so I'm appreciative of your time.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's good to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you give us just honestly, as much of a background as you want. People can also go back and listen to the previous episode, but I want to make sure that everybody kind of understands, has a frame of reference for, kind of your life. And then we'll talk a lot about what's been new over the last couple of years.
Absolutely. So I'm a securities lawyer, which just means I help real estate investors leverage other people's money to scale their real estate portfolio and business. So syndication lawyer, I guess a lot of people say, although I hate using that word because people get so scared of that word.
Yeah.
Just pulling resources is all. So I've been practicing law though for 25 years. I have a securities law practice. I just recently bought out my former partner, Mauricio Raould. And in addition to that, as you mentioned, I wrote a book and had it published this past year, I guess. And I also am a real estate investor. So I invest in boutique hotels and luxury resorts, about to launch a fund. But what I do really is I leverage what I know and what I've learned over the years in practicing law and helping other entrepreneurs. I've leveraged that into creating my own businesses as well. So I always say that I help people practice safe sec.
Yeah. We'll talk about how the last 2 years. I'm actually really interested in your perspective on things, but a lot of stuff going on. I mean, that's a busy time. I'm not sure if you were working on the book when we last talked, but like I said, it has been a couple of years. Congratulations on that. I think that it's so great to see the success, and now the buying out of Mauricio. I mean, a lot of stuff has happened, and I feel like I know a little bit because of social media, and I've seen kind of what's been going on. But I don't know. What do you want to talk about first? What are you most passionate about right now? We can kind of dive in there.
I'm really passionate about the book. I think it was just maybe being finished when I talked to you last time on here. It was actually officially published in February of this year, 2025, and it did hit bestseller status. So I'm super excited about that, proud of that.
Okay.
And it really is a book. I did not write this book as just a business card, as some people say, right? So that I could just say that I wrote a book. I really do want people to read it. It's I put a lot into it, and I really think it is a good way for people to scale their business, scale their wealth, create their wealth from scratch if that's where they are, or rebuild after a setback or after a loss or whatever without burning out. And that's the key. Anybody can make a lot of money. I'm sure there are people who probably don't think that's true even, but you can make a lot of money, but you don't necessarily have to kill yourself to do it. And the book is really about how to leverage other people's everything, literally, so that you can create whatever wealth and whatever extraordinary life means for you, whatever your why is for you. You can create that without burning yourself out. And so I'm really proud of that. That took a lot of devotion, and I poured my whole soul into it. And so I'm really excited that it's in the world now.
Yeah. We definitely talked about that topic, sort of the leveraging other people's everything. And I think it's such a strong, like, that concept alone to me is so powerful, and a hard, probably a hard mindset to break. I think the other book aside from yours, like another book that has always resonated with me in that, I guess, space is Who Not How. And I think that just the idea of realizing that you don't have to go alone, you don't have to do everything yourself. I did that for a long time, and it's like an easy trap to fall into. You don't have to give away everything. People should get the book, read the book, but I wonder what, like, where do you suggest people start? Because I do think it's a mindset shift. Like,
Yes.
we almost are sort of taught in school and life to, like, you got to do things on your own and be uh, be self sufficient. And I'm to some degree that's true, but, like, how do you balance that? Where do you start with learning to leverage?
Well, it is a mindset shift. It 100% is a mindset shift. I think the first thing I really talk about actually in the book is other people's stuff and junk that you don't want, right? So, other people's goals for yourself, other people's expectations of you. And in order to do that, you really do have to understand your why. You have to understand what it is that is meaningful to you. What are you working toward? What does your extraordinary life look like? Because mine might not look like what yours looks like, and doesn't look
Mhm.
like, what
Yeah.
my daughter's looks like. Everybody's is different. And you've got to define that for yourself first. And you've got to allow yourself the room to do that, right? Because a lot of us are just so heads down, like, I'll enjoy my life when I get through this. I'll enjoy my life when I do this and when I hit
Yeah.
this milestone. And then there's like a never ending list of milestones to hit before, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, what did I just do? And so the first part is really allowing yourself to figure out, what do I want?
Hmm.
Right. And what am I amazing at, and what lights me up? And I know we did talk a little bit about that last time, but it is that mindset set shift of, okay, I can allow myself to do as much of that as possible, and to let other people do as much of their thing as possible. And so if you can get into that mindset shift of, I'm actually supporting other people by allowing them to do what they love, same as me,
Hmm.
and if you can get past the idea of it's lazy to not do everything yourself, like, that's such garbage, right? We're in this hustle culture where people are like, you sleep 3 hours and you grind it out, and that's your life, and that's what being an entrepreneur is, and we're all in this misery boat together. Why? And so giving yourself the permission, the mindset shift is the big thing, but then letting go of other people's garbage that doesn't serve you. What goals are you reaching, and are they yours? Because I think a lot of us entrepreneurs would figure out that we did certain things because other people expected us to.
Yeah. Yeah. Certainly I mean, it's you. I guess you could say it's almost entirely mindset in the sense
Mhm.
that, especially starting that way, starting with, kind of getting rid of other people's expectations of yourself. Like, it's a real, it can be a real barrier. I think, first it's like, okay, everybody else thinks I should or shouldn't do X, and so you have to get past the belief that that's okay. It doesn't matter. They can think what they want to think. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just you have to decide what's good for you, which I think is a hard step, but an important first step. And then, you mentioned that, kind of grind and hustle culture, and I feel like that's a thing that goes up and down. Like, people,
Right.
there's times, where it's like socially acceptable to work, all but 3 hours a day, and sometimes, like, people rebel against that. And um, but I think it's probably somewhere in the middle. Like, and realistically, no matter what approach you take, like, if you're going to say, I'm going to hustle and grind and I'm going to work, 23 hours a day, you still can accomplish more if you leverage other people and other resources.
Mhm.
And so it's like, kind of doesn't pick whatever path you want, but this will allow you to be more successful and more, hopefully more healthy. I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, with outsourcing.
Yeah. Like you said, if you want to work 23 hours a day because you just love something and you're trying to get a project out there that you're so passionate about, okay. Okay. I mean, it's not really sustainable to do that forever. And it's definitely not sustainable to do it if it's driven by what you think other people are expecting,
Right.
right? I think you're exactly right, though. It is almost entirely a mindset shift.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. It's so. Do you think? if tactically, so you say, okay, I recognize I'm going to let things go. Probably, I don't know. I don't know that I've ever entirely let all that stuff go, that those limiting beliefs and whatnot. But you try and let that go. You try and move through it, and then you start to look at, okay, I'm going to leverage. Is it people? Is it technology? Is it where do you tactically start once you've had that kind of realization that, yeah, you're right, this is something that will add rocket fuel to my success.
I think the most obvious place, or the maybe not obvious, easiest place to start is an executive assistant,
Mm-hmm.
because you can offload the things that you can't argue, like, you know what, that might be a $20 an hour job. I don't need to be doing it, right? I don't need to be checking my email all the time. I don't need to be doing my calendar. Those are easy things to just kind of dip your toe in. Like,
Yeah.
most people don't like to do that. It's pretty easy to offload. It's pretty easy to train someone to do those kinds of things. And then you start to feel the success of that, right? Meaning you see, gosh, that freed up a lot of my time, just that, and mental bandwidth,
Mm-hmm.
right? So maybe it only takes you 10 minutes to check your email at any given point, but then you're off task on something that really lights you up
Yeah.
while you're doing that. So that's an easy place to start. I think Who Not How is an amazing book resource for this, but the other one that I really love is Dan Martell's Buy Back Your Time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he talks about this a lot. Like, the first thing to offload to start to buy back your time are the lower dollar tasks, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then you start, and once you start to feel like, oh wow, like, I'm lighter. I'm able to do. I'm doing more of the things I like and fewer of the things I hate. And then it starts to snowball, because you see some success and you're like, oh, I can do
Yeah.
this. Okay, if you tried to offload the most high level task that probably you ought to be doing, it's
Yeah.
probably going to fail a couple times, right? And then you're like, well, see, I have to do it myself. See,
Right.
you
Right.
know,
Yeah, maybe it was Dan that said this, but a quote that always kind of along this topic is, if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant, and
yeah, yeah,
maybe that was Dan's quote. I don't know, or
it
he,
might be. It sounds like something he would say.
yeah, yeah. Either I probably heard it from him, whether he originated it, but I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and I think sometimes I think one of the things I liked best about Who Not How was that there were like examples in there, and almost like I don't know what the right word, like validation that, like, maybe some things that you thought about that would help you in your life is an okay thing to outsource. Like, the
Yeah.
one that always jumps to mind is this. It sounds ridiculous even saying it out loud, but I spend a lot of time in the car,
Hmm.
and I would like someone else to drive, like, because like, I live in LA. I mean, you live here too.
Yeah.
Like, traffic's bad. So if you spend a lot of time in the car and you're driving, that's time that you can't be productive. And so, like, what you might pay someone to drive you around, if you're paying them, who knows, 20, 30, $40, that, like, you can actually generate a lot more revenue in that hour than you're paying to that person. And I think it's like, it is like, that's really mindset to be like, am I really that guy who's going to sit in the back of the car and be driven places? But at the same time, it's probably a good idea. Like, it
Yeah.
really, if you look at
Yeah.
it purely from a numbers standpoint, it's probably a good idea. And, like, people talk about, you shouldn't be doing your own grocery shopping, you shouldn't be doing your own, laundry, clean, like, things like that. And I think um, all of that stuff is really good, even just to think about. Like, okay, what, like, sometimes I like to go grocery shopping and bring my kids, and we have a fun little outing, but, like, that's different than, like, I'm doing this task because I have to.
Yeah.
And I know that we could get groceries delivered. I like, there's all kinds of ways around it, but it's like, hey, you want to go spend 30 minutes together at the like,
Yeah.
riding in a grocery
And
cart?
that
Like,
is
that
the
stuff's
point,
just
though,
fun.
is the freedom is you get to choose.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what we're all striving for. It's not, do I ever have to step foot in a grocery store, or do you know who I am? It's,
Right.
I want to choose that I'm going to spend that 30 minutes with my kids, versus, I don't know, I'll be back. I got to go grab this stuff, and then I got to do this, and then I got to do that. And it's all,
Yeah.
just choosing. It doesn't matter what it is we choose. I hate to clean my house. Hate it. No, there's never going to be an occasion where I'm like, I think I'd like to do it myself this time. I
Yeah.
hate it. But I had a real problem at first. Like, I would make excuses of why I got someone to clean my house. Who cares? Nobody cares if I'm cleaning my house or not.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't even know if I didn't bring it up, right?
Right.
Would it ever occur to you? I wonder if Bethany cleans her own house. No one cares.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, to your point, like there are people you're providing a job. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
it's I think we sometimes think about these things as we're being bougie or whatever, but like also there are people who clean houses for money. That's their job. They need that. From my observation, it seems like some of them actually really enjoy it. I'm with
Yeah.
you. I don't want anything to do with it, but it's like there's plenty of things that people do. It doesn't, you talk about it as these $20 an hour jobs and like, but I don't even think it has to do with it. There are things that are like super high level jobs. I mean, like I have no interest in law. Like I don't want to be an attorney, even though I know attorneys can make a lot of money. So it's not even what I shouldn't say I have no interest. Some of it's fascinating, but the point is I don't want to be an attorney and do that work. And so it's like I also don't want to be a cleaner, but there are things that I like doing that also there are people that will do that for less money. I think it's just like you said, it's the choice. It's the
Yeah.
ability to leverage away the things you just don't want to do and
Right.
focus on
Or
what you
things that
do.
things you don't want to think. It's got to be. I used to say it's only two things, but I think maybe it's three things. The first is, am I good at it? If I'm
Mhm.
not any good at it, that probably means I don't love it. But if I'm not any good at it, then I have no business doing it. It's not even safe for me to be doing things I'm not very good at in my business, right?
Yeah.
So from a legal perspective, even I shouldn't be doing those things. Does it light me up? This is the one where sometimes we don't give our permission, right? Like I'm really good at writing PPMs. Does not light me up. I should not be spending my time
Yeah.
doing that because there are people that do really love doing it. I have people on my team at Premier Law Group that love writing PPMs. It's a thing that, and I don't. So I train them. We talk about strategy and then they do it. But the third part of it is it lights you up. You're good at it. Does it move me closer to what I think my extraordinary life is? Because that's where you really want to spend most of your time. If I'm good at it, it lights me up, like the grocery shopping with my kids or your kids, for example. You can do it. It's fine. It lights you up. Is that a thing you're going to spend most of your time doing though? Probably not. It's going to be a 30-minute
Right.
thing because you want to hang out with your kids, right? You're going to spend the bulk of your time though trying to provide the freedom that allows you to choose those 30-minute jaunts with your kids versus
Yeah.
what you are or you're not going to do. And I think that if we just give ourselves permission to do that, it everything falls into place from there. Because you're right. Someone loves to do the stuff I hate. Someone loves to do the stuff you hate. Or
Mhm.
someone's good at the stuff that I just suck at.
Yeah.
I am not your girl to make a spreadsheet of anything.
Yeah. 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 No, I mean, it's so true. It's funny if you actually, that's probably a good exercise for people to do is to put the things that, almost like look at your calendar, put your, everything on your calendar into those three buckets.
Yeah.
And and that will help you figure out where you need to leverage other people. Like
Yeah.
it's just, there's, yeah, it's so true. I mean, like this, you said spreadsheet, like I'm actually pretty good at spreadsheets, but I don't enjoy it. Like it's not
Yeah.
fun to do. So it's like, sure, I can make it work and build them and whatever, but like, I don't really want to. So it's kind of, it's so true that really are those three kind of segments. And if you just break it down and get in those, get everything in those lanes, then you can figure out, okay, I'm going to focus on, the ones that make me the most or get you the closest to that, ideal life. And probably some overlap with what you're just really good at. And hopefully a lot of those are in the same, those two lanes have a lot of overlap. But yeah, it's a great way to look at it, both from a business and a life perspective. I think that the idea of really sort of categorizing things that way. Can we talk about boutique hotels a little bit?
Yes, I wish we could.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Because the pictures look amazing. I just keep seeing, I see the pictures. I'm like, that's just beautiful. So, I mean, tell me about that, the asset class, what you like about
Yeah.
it, kind of a bit about, your I don't know, trajectory in that space.
Yeah. So the last time we talked, I think I had just acquired Mariposa Beach Resort, which is in Belize, because we bought that in September of 23. And the thing I like about boutique hotels really is you get the real estate, and that's wonderful, but there's also a lot of different lines of revenue because there's operating businesses that go along with it, right? There's
Yeah.
at this one in particular, there's a restaurant and a bar. We are building a spa so that we can get revenue from spa. There's excursions people can go on. So you can add lines of revenue, which I really like because if you do a lot of research to see most wealth is created in real estate, right? People become millionaires in real estate. People become
Hmm.
billionaires in businesses.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm on the path to be a billionaire. I'm also not saying I'm not. But what I am saying is real estate's a wonderful way to create wealth, but having an operating business in addition to that is a way to then accelerate that wealth, right?
Yep.
And grow it and scale it. And so I really like boutique hotels for that reason. I also just turns out I really love hospitality. I didn't know this until later in life, and I people always ask, like, what would you go back and tell your 19-year-old self? That's it. I would say go into hospitality.
Yeah.
I love it so much. So I think that's why it's my favorite asset class is there's just so much more you can do with it. It's a lot more work than some of the more
Yeah. Yeah.
passive asset classes. But if you have the right team, then it works out. So I really love it. Plus I get to basically go on vacation to scout properties, to check
Yeah.
my properties, to talk about with staff. And I'm also at the same time also never on vacation, right? Because if I go to that place, I'm always working, but I don't
Right.
care because I love it there, you
Yeah.
know? So I think it's just fun,
Yeah.
and it's fun to raise for. We're actually getting ready to, we actually took Mariposa full cycle. We're selling it into the fund, which was the plan all along. So we can continue to add value and then go buy more properties, right? And so we're getting ready to launch Rev Luxury Fund, which is the fund through which we'll buy other luxury resort properties so people can
Nice.
go and host amazing retreats and have amazing life experiences. And I love that because, I'm telling investors you get a return on your investment, all things going well and as planned, but you also get to enjoy your investment. So your vacations effectively could be making you money.
Hmm.
So it's a
Yeah.
fun message.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I've heard um, some of those perks that go along with being an investor. It's like if you're an investor in apartments, you're not gonna go stay in one of those apartments. Like it's just
Right.
it's just there. It's real estate. It's great, but it's like you're not gonna go stay there. I think when you're investing in something like a beach resort like that, you've got an added bonus on top of everything else that goes along with it. Um, I want to dig a little deeper on the sort of real estate versus business play, and it seems like these boutique hotels are like a almost a hybrid version of that, because what I've been looking at a lot lately is business acquisition, to put alongside real estate. And I think real estate, it's not really a secret right now. Like real estate's not particularly high cash flowing. It's hard to some, or at least a lot of the traditional routes, but it's still got good tax benefits. It still has appreciation. Like it's a good place to hold wealth. But if you want to, as you said, kind of like supercharge that, you can add in businesses, and so it's a really nice spot to be in when it kind of combines the two. I think self storage is similar
Mhm.
in the sense that it's still it's real estate. You own the land, you own the property on there, but you're actually running a business within that real estate. So how do you find that operationally? I mean, I know you're all about OPE and using the team. How has that been? How has that experience in terms of finding people to operate the property? Was maybe they were already there? How do you feel about that aspect?
In this case of Mariposa, we had an amazing staff that came with us. The seller was actually a really good operator. We didn't buy it from some, it wasn't just this crumbling thing. It was already profitable. It's just that he needed to move back to the United States and he was a solo operator and didn't want to own it by himself living from the States. So we were very fortunate. It was a good first deal. for me to
Yep.
be on the syndicator side, on the operator side. We had great staff in country. The seller agreed to stay on as an advisor. He was very well respected. I keep saying, well, he is really well respected. He, has really supported this. Plus, I got seller financing. I mean, it was just
Oh,
all
yeah.
the stars lined up for this one. But it was a good way to learn because it was already in place and going pretty well. Room for improvement, of course, right? It hadn't really been marketed, and there was room to add more tree houses. And that operationally, it was just his retirement. He didn't need to make money for investors, so he wasn't really paying as close of attention
Right.
as I need to, for
Right.
example, because we have investors. So there was room for improvement, but I was able to take something that was good and make it better.
Mhm.
Right. And so I think that's a good way to start when people are looking at buying operating businesses. It doesn't have to be circling the drain when you buy it. If you get seller finance or some sort of creative financing on it,
Yeah.
then you're not necessarily paying a premium and you're not having to salvage or turn something around in an industry that you don't already know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point. And it comes up a lot in the business acquisition world. Like, don't buy a turnaround for
Right.
your
Right.
first business. I like don't start with the deck stacked against you and go in there and try and find it'll make it harder to find the right deal, right? Like you probably find a turnaround pretty easily because people are trying to dump them, but you're also just picking up a bunch of headaches. So you've got to,
Right.
I think, be really, kind of stick to your criteria and be smart about what you're acquiring. So it's going to be you're going to start a fund, and it's going to be the idea is going to be all boutique hotels within that.
Not exactly luxury resort properties. So they don't
Okay.
necessarily have to already be boutique hotels. Could be a castle, could be, a mansion, it could be, a few cabins in the mountains or whatever. Something that we can operate like a boutique hotel, though,
Mhm.
right? Bring in the other services, bring in the spa. Some, we can have retreats, that kind of thing, and then we can do some short term rental to offset the cyclical nature of the boutique hotels, but really operating like a boutique hotel.
Yeah.
So it expands our buy box a fair amount,
Mhm.
and it gives us a little bit more flexibility to be creative with the properties. But I would stick more on the boutique side. I'm not looking to buy a flag, like a Marriott or a Fairfield or
Right.
something
Right.
like that. Those are wonderful cash flow, no knock against it. That's just not what this fund is for.
Mhm.
Because I want to do what I want to do. With the flags, you've got a lot of rules and restrictions
Right.
in
Right.
exchange for that cash flow.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. What so what has been if we talked last in 2023, that was I guess we probably had been through most of the interest rate hikes and seen
Mhm.
some of the kind of pain that caused. From your side as an attorney, we'll switch. We've talked about author and
Yeah.
hotel owner, and just from the attorney side of things that works with syndicators. What have you seen kind of over the last couple of years? What's been what do you expect to see maybe here coming in the next 18 24 months?
We've seen a decrease in the number of transactions happening. People have slowed down a little bit. I think that's forced people to be a little more mindful about what their actual buy box is and then
Yep.
sticking with it. Because,
Yep.
right before that, it was like, I can make anything pencil because everybody's making money if they trip over a property. And so we saw a little bit of a slowdown in the number of transactions. We saw a few people that maybe did a ton of transactions when everything was booming take a pause so they can actually operate,
Hmm.
right? Because that's the
Yeah.
thing that wasn't sexy for a while, right? You see everybody popping up with all these programs about here's how you find properties, here's how you fund properties, but
Yeah.
nobody was talking about how to operate properties. And the only reason, so now I'm looking at it from a securities attorney standpoint, the only reason that we're allowed to go raise money is to operate our businesses. It's
Yeah.
not raising money in and of itself isn't its own business unless you're a broker dealer. It's to operate your own business. And people were kind of treating it like it was a capital raising business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
and then so now I think people are kind of shifting gears into more of an operational role, which is what it should be,
Hmm.
right? And then sharpening their buy box a little bit as well, and sharpening their pencils a little bit as well to see if does the numbers make sense on
Yeah.
this to support it. So I think we're seeing operators who are going to stick around are being just a little bit more careful with their investors' money. They're being more careful as operators. Um, they're doing the things that I kind of wish we would have done in 21. But and then I think probably when we talked last time, I was already fielding calls about how do I do a capital call? What do I do now?
Yeah.
So that slowed down a little bit. It's starting to even out a little, I think.
Yeah.
So I think people are a little less scared. Capital's getting back out there now. It's a little less scary now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think that we've kind of, I hope, I mean, I guess this is all cyclical and people will forget and do it again. But I think we've weeded out the people that are just trying to chase fees and have it be sort of sexy capital raising.
Yeah.
And now we're back to, okay, this is a serious business. We're operating now,
Yeah.
and we need to treat it as such.
Yeah. I think that's a perfect kind of summary of what we've seen as well. I think the, I mean, in full disclosure, like I got into syndication in 21, so it's not like I was in that same like, oh, this seems great, and kind of got in there, and it's interesting because you look back and you're like, well, we did bridge loans because we had to do bridge loans. Like that was if it was like 80% of people were doing bridge loans, so if you didn't do a bridge loan, you weren't going to do any deals, which maybe in hindsight would have been a better thing, but it's hard to kind of go back in time. So we just have to, I think, learn from from what happened. And we had basically a series of black swan events that happened. We had a pandemic, and then we had a whole bunch of money printed, and then we had interest rates shoot up faster than they ever have before. And it really reinforces the importance, though, of, as you said, like operational excellence. And the I've been lucky with the podcast to talk to people that were doing this even before 2008. So it's like you talk to the people that were doing it before 2008. What happened in 2022 was they basically knew it was coming, or were kind of like, I don't think I want to jump on that.
Yeah.
I don't want to catch the falling knife, if you will. And so I think it's just kind of an interesting perspective. And I agree. Like, I think that, and I hope to be one of those people, but I think like you can carry through this and learn from it. It will actually set you up to be better in the long run, sort of operationally better about, being real specific about your acquisitions and stuff. I think it's just I think the other thing it's created is, maybe it didn't create it, but it brought back creativity. Like you're looking at boutique hotels, and we just talked about the things that are kind of interesting in that space. We're looking at business acquisitions to add to real estate. I think I've seen similar, other people out there doing similar ideas. Like, what are we going to look at to kind of make ourselves just a bit more diversified and be able to, so as things kind of go up and down, you have options to pivot a little bit. So I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move. And look, when I'm advising people or they ask me questions from like a passive investor's perspective, right, of what to look for in an operator, I don't tell them look for someone who's always succeeded. I don't say make sure that they have never lost anybody's money before, make sure that they've never had a capital call before. I mean, that would be, especially after this past couple of years, that would be a little bit silly to say. What I do say, though, is ask the hard questions. If they have had any kind of bump in the road, how
Yeah.
did they overcome it? And how will they overcome it now that they have your money? Right. So
Right.
I don't want somebody to learn all of their mistakes on my dime. I would love it if I go into a deal and they've already made some mistakes, and then I am comfortable with the way that they overcame them. So, and for anybody listening, it's, I don't say this of, oh, we had a lot of operators asking about capital calls or had some losses or whatever, to say find them and don't invest with them. Absolutely not. Just ask the questions, right?
Yeah.
And I think that how they answer the questions is more important than whether there's been a loss.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There was some, there was some very, it seemed wonderful. And if you got the timing just right, people made a lot of money, but also a set of circumstances that kind of made it hard, like really hard when it came out the other side. And I know people that I'm in deals that I know people that have done everything possible to try and, weather the storm and salvage the deals and things. So I think it's just kind of and I would trust them again, even knowing that, you just have to, I think that's a great point about asking, what is your, what happened? Have you had anything go wrong? What'd you do then? That sort of thing. I think it's a great piece of advice for passive investors. Well, Bethany, let me switch gears. I'll ask you, and maybe your answer has changed a little bit since last time, but I always ask everyone, what is your why? And so I'd be interested to hear, kind of what your why is at this point. Maybe it's changed. Maybe it's been pretty solid, but definitely catch us up on that.
Yeah, I think it's probably the same. I don't remember exactly what I said, but my daughter is watching me, and everything I do is to set an example of her knowing what she can do and what she's capable of. And so my daughter, of course, is my why, because I want her to learn that she can achieve success without burning out, without making some of the same mistakes I made. So I'm really just trying to be an example to her and other young people.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that my kids are younger, but say, I mean, that's kind of the whole thing. And I think that like you talked about sort of at the beginning, we talked about approaching life like you want to, find your ideal, however that looks. Right. And I feel like my kids have taught me so much about that, in the sense, like, that's how kids are. Yeah. They're just like, how am I going to make this my ideal day every day? They're just,
I know, it's
always,
so great.
yeah. It's like, it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. And it's like, if you can even take a little piece of that and try and kind of, let them live that life a little bit, but that all comes from the freedom, the time freedom that comes. And that's why people become entrepreneurs, and why they, we may work more hours for less money, but we control our schedules. And I think that's kind of like more valuable than anything else. So it really resonates with me anyway, what you said. So, when people hear this and they want to reach out, what's the best way for them to connect?
Instagram's actually the best, Bethany_LaFlam, because everything I'm doing is there. There's a link to the book, there's a link to the community, there's a link to the law firm, everywhere. So that's the easiest way to keep up.
Okay, perfect. Well, we will have that in the show notes. Bethany, thank you for coming back. Thank you for spending more time with me and catching us up. I like I said, I feel like I get a little glimpse, because I see, I do follow you on social media. I see the stuff that you're doing. So congratulations on all the success, and thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Folks, make sure you connect with Bethany. Check out the hotel, check out the fund, the book, and please like, rate, and review the show so we can continue to get more great guests. And as always, thank you for listening.
Hey there, I am Dr. Jason Balara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast, where we explore the why behind success. Every week, I meet with real estate investors, veterinary entrepreneurs, mindset coaches, authors, and fitness professionals to uncover their why and how it drives them on the winding road to success. What is your why?